I read the book, 13 Reasons Why. It was awesome. It was really good. I highly suggest it. So first, the plot. This girl, Hannah Baker, has just passed away. And about 2 weeks after her death, Clay Jensen receives tapes. And these tapes are tapes about how Hannah Baker passed away. Before she died, she made 13 tapes with 13 different people on them. And each person has a reason behind the death. So she kind of like explains what that person did and how that person made her feel, and the reason that they kind of like brought her to where she was and like how she died. Important characters are Hannah, obviously. She's the one that committed the suicide. Clay's the one that received the tapes and is now listening to all the tapes and has to kind of figure out like why he's on the tapes, because if you receive them, that you're on them. So Clay at first is very unsure about how or why he's on the tapes. And Tony is one of Clay's good friends, and when Clay really struggles with the tapes, especially when he hears his part, Tony is a super great friend, and he kind of comforts him and brings him in his car and kind of says like it's gonna be okay, and like helps him out and kind of just makes him feel a lot more comfortable. What problems do the characters have? Well, the characters, Hannah obviously has the problem of thinking she's not good enough for anyone. She does not think that she should be on the earth, and she thinks that it's just meant to be, that she should just not be there, so that's why she commits suicide. Clay's problem is, and how does Hannah solves her problem? By these tapes. She feels that everyone should know the reason why she really committed suicide, so she makes these tapes, and that's how she solves her problem. Clay's problem is he's afraid, and he also feels guilty. After listening to the tapes and realizing what went through Hannah, he realizes that he should have done more to help her. He says in one part of the book, I should have done more. I never really got to know her, but I really should have got to know her more. He says this because he feels guilty. He feels like if he maybe got to know her more, he could have helped her out, and I kind of think he might have been able to, but at the same time, I'm not sure. Hannah really struggled with a lot. I think the author's purpose of writing this was just to really make you realize, like, how you treat other people. The author actually said, at the end of the book, it says, like, a bunch of stuff about what the author says, and the author said, even though Hannah admits that the decision of taking her life away was entirely her own, it's important to be aware of how we treat others. So I think that he's kind of saying, like, his purpose behind this is make sure you treat others the way you want to be treated, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They could have so much going on that you don't know about, and you just putting more and more negativity on them could make them worse, and they could possibly end up like Hannah. It just it's kind of like an eye-opener, like, just kind of like, realize who you're talking to. Like, you just need to know, like, what's going on, and, like, you don't want to treat people, like, bad, I guess. Common themes throughout the novel are, the first one is the fear of knowing the truth. In the beginning, on page 10, Clay receives the tapes, and he says, my stomach squeezes it on itself, ready to make me throw up if I let it. Nearby, a plastic bucket sits upside down on a footstool. In 2 strides, if I need to, I can reach the handle and flip it over. I hardly knew Hannah Baker. I mean, I wanted to. I wanted to know her more than I had the chance. Over the summer, we worked together in a movie theater. And not long ago at a party we made out, but we never had the chance to get closer. And not once did I take her for granted, not once. These tapes shouldn't be here, not with me. It has to be a mistake or a terrible joke. So he's kind of like, out of the fear of getting these tapes, he's kind of like, I didn't even know her that well, like, I didn't do anything wrong. And he's kind of just like expressing that, like, he's done nothing. Another theme is the loss of friendship. Hannah and this one girl, Courtney, become really good friends. But Hannah just comes to realize that she wasn't really a good friend. Hannah describes her and says, let's be very clear. I do not hate you, Courtney. But in fact, I don't even dislike you. But for a time, I thought you and I were becoming friends. It turns out you were just grooming me to be another tally mark under people who think Courtney Crimson is a really neat girl. Another guaranteed vote for most liked in the senior yearbook. And once you did it to me, I realized it. I watched you do it to others. So the loss of friendship means, like, Hannah really thought, like, for once she was going to have a friend, and she was getting really comfortable with Courtney, and then after after things went bad, she realized that, like, Courtney wasn't really her friend, and that's how she's describing her in the book. She's saying, like, I saw that, like, I should have known that you were just treating me like another girl, like, I wasn't really your friend, you were just kind of using me. The last theme is the realization of death. Clay, when he's listening to the tapes, feels like she's still there, because Hannah's still there, because he hears her voice, and he, like, feels like, oh, Hannah's still with me, like, I'm okay. But then when the tapes are gone and he has to send them away to the next person, he kind of gets that realization that, like, Hannah's dead, and, like, when he gets back to school, she's not going to be there. So towards the end of the novel, he's talking about this girl, Sky, and she's a girl that you can kind of inference is kind of like Hannah, and has, like, kind of like the suicide thoughts along with her. And the author says, 2 steps behind her, I say her name. And then Clay says her name, and that's, like, the last, like, he says Sky, and that's the last words. But I think that this is kind of, like, how, like, in this moment he's realizing, like, Hannah's dead, so, like, now I have to do this, and I have to listen to, like, what she's done, and, like, see what happened to her, and, like, take this with me, and now prevent other people from, like, prevent the same thing from happening to other people. Those are the themes I got. Overall, I really recommend this book. It's awesome. It's nonfiction. If you like stories that have to do, like, that could really happen in life or anything like that, I really suggest this book.